I was brainwashed. For the first years of my life, I followed the script perfectly. My parents told me, "Andrew, save your money, put it in the bank, be responsible." And I listened. But at 23 years old, I realized that advice wasn't just outdated, it was financial suicide. I made the decision to question what I was taught. I ran the numbers on my own savings, and I saw the truth. By being responsible and hoarding cash in a standard bank account, I wasn't building wealth. I had lost 20% of my life's work to the invisible tax of inflation. That wasn't savings, that was a robbery in slow motion.
If you stay until the end, I'm going to show you exactly how I stopped being a victim. I'm going to hand you the 3-step financial algorithm I used to escape the trap and become a capitalist. Let's break the bank.
I want to take you back a few years. I was the definition of the good guy. I wasn't reckless. I drove a beat-up Honda. I brought my lunch to work in Tupperware every single day. I didn't buy $5 lattes. Every month, I took 20% of my paycheck and put it into my Chase savings account. I would look at my banking app. I see the number, $50,000. It felt stable. It felt safe.
Do me a favor. Be honest with me. Do you have cash sitting in a bank account right now earning absolutely nothing? If the answer is yes, pause the video and type guilty in the comments.
Was guilty for years. I want to know how many of us are in the same boat. But I was the victim of a time crime. You see, I was playing a game that ended in 1971.
In 1980, saving was genius. Banks paid 12% interest. If I had lived then, I would have been earning $6,000 a year just for parking my cash.
But in the world I actually lived in, my bank was paying me 0.01%. I was giving my capital to the bank for free, and in exchange, they were giving me nothing but a depreciating asset.
I wasn't being prudent. I was being farmed. I remember the moment I woke up. I started studying financial engineering, and I discovered why the system wanted me to save. It wasn't because they cared about my future. It was because I was their unpaid employee. Here is what they were doing with my money. I deposited my $10,000. The bank paid me 0.01%. Pennies. The bank turned around and lent my money to a real estate investor to buy an apartment complex at 7% interest. The math is 7% minus 0.01% equals 6.99%. The bank was making a 6.99% spread on money they didn't even own. They used my labor to build their empire. That day, I made a vow. I will never be the fuel for someone else's engine again. I will become the engine. Then I looked at the weapon being used against me, inflation.
I used to believe the government when they said inflation was 3%. But then I looked at my grocery bill. I looked at house prices. The real inflation was closer to 7 or 8%.
That's when I applied the rule of 72. Formula: divide 72 by the inflation rate, 7%, to see how fast your money dies. 72 divided by 7 equals roughly 10 years.
I realized that my hard-earned $50,000 in 10 years would only buy $25,000 worth of goods. I didn't spend a dime, but half my life's work was going to evaporate.
I felt like I was standing on a treadmill moving backwards. If I stood still, saved, I went backwards. I had to run, invest, just to stay in the same place.
So I decided to run. I built a system called the Capitalist Protocol. But be careful. Most people try to do this and lose all their money in step 2 because they don't understand risk. Here is exactly how I did it safely. I shifted my identity from hoarder to allocator. Step 1. I eliminated the lazy tax.
I had my emergency fund and a checking account. I realized I was paying a lazy tax. Formula is cash amount times 5% minus cash amount times 0.01%.
On my $50,000, the lazy tax was $2,495 a year. I was literally throwing a free vacation in the trash every December 31st because I was too lazy to click a button.
My move? I moved my emergency cash to U.S. Treasuries, T-bills, and a money market fund. It took 10 minutes. It was just as safe, but suddenly I was getting paid. Step 2. I deployed the soldiers. Real yield. Once my fortress was full, I stopped saving cash. Every extra dollar became a soldier. I sent them to war against inflation.
I needed positive real yield. My yield had to be higher than inflation, 7%. So I bought assets that paid rent, dividend aristocrats, REITs.
Stablecoin yield. This changed the game, earning 10 to 15% on digital dollars. With a 10% yield, 10% minus 7% equals plus 3%.
Finally, I was winning. I was swimming faster than the current. My money started working while I slept.
And if you were wondering how to set up this stablecoin yield safely, subscribe now, because it is the cornerstone of our strategy and we will go deep on it.
But first, you need the multiplier. Step 3, I bought asymmetric growth. This is where I built real wealth. I allocated a portion to assets where the math was broken in my favor. Bitcoin. I understood supply and demand. The dollar supply is infinite. Bitcoin supply is finite, 21 million. I stopped gambling on meme coins. I started hedging against the destruction of the dollar. I bought assets that could not be diluted by a politician printing money. Let's fast forward to today. If I had stayed the old me, the saver, I would still be driving that old Honda, terrified of the price of gas. My savings would be worth less every year. I would be tired. But because I became Andrew the capitalist, I didn't hoard cash, I deployed it. When inflation skyrocketed these last few years, my real estate went up, my stocks went up, my Bitcoin went up. Inflation didn't hurt me, it enriched me. I bought my freedom, not by saving pennies, but by engineering my portfolio.
You have a choice today. You can continue to be the old me. You can let the fear of loss keep you paralyzed in a 0.01% account.
Or you can accept the truth. You cannot save your way to wealth. You have to invest your way out. It felt scary to leave the bank, I know.
Saving felt like a warm blanket. Investing felt like the cold wind. But that warm blanket was suffocating me. Wake up. Break the piggy bank. Become the bank.
Now, I have given you the algorithm. You know how to generate yield. But there is one trap that almost ruined me, even after I started investing. The status trap.
I started making money and I immediately wanted to buy a nice car to show off. If I had done that, I would have drained my buckets. Instead, I used a secret rule called the Asset First rule. It allowed me to buy the luxury car for free using the yield from step 2. I explain exactly how I beat the status game and bought my dream car without losing money in this video. 7 ways society tricks you into staying poor. Click it. Stop copying the poor. Start living like an owner. Cheers.